Alright, what's up guys? Asian here. So I'm actually was on my way out to climb for today, but I decided to stick around a little bit and find out what is happening in next year's, or I should say this year's chapter. So the official name has been released. It is the Elder Scrolls Online Greymoor, and just based on the picture here that we see on their page, very obvious now, we're heading to Solitude. So we've already known that we were going to head out into Skyrim. The teaser that they gave us was we were going into the Dark Heart of Skyrim. So we knew we were going somewhere in Skyrim. We already had access to Eastmarch and the Rift, so the only thing that was really remaining was either the north, which is kind of the Winterhold area, or all the way to the west, which would be Solitude, or Markarth. Now, when we heard Dark Heart, a lot of us were thinking, well, there's Blackreach, kind of fits under the Dark Heart of Skyrim, but there's also a lot of lore behind Skyrim as well, and from what we've been reading, as well as what I heard from the stream, it does seem like this is based more around the darker lore, kind of the werewolves, vampire lore behind Skyrim. For those of you guys who are really big lore buffs for the ES series, you do know that werewolf, licking, oh god, what's the actual word? Lycanthropy and vampirism do have a pretty large role in Skyrim. Anybody who's played the Elder Scrolls V knows about the Dawnguard DLC, for example, and of course the companions had their whole line of lycanthropy in their sort of inner circle, so to speak. So pretty exciting. So we do have the name of the DLC that's coming out in March 2020. So just based on this timeline here, if it's the first week of March, then following your typical 5-week PTS cycle, that means we should get the DLC at the last week of January, so that would be this coming week. If it is towards the end of March, however, we're going to see a PTS cycle begin sometime in mid to late February instead. Me personally, I am of the opinion that, if you go ahead and take a look at the calendar really quickly, I'm of the opinion that we're probably going to see a PTS cycle launch around here. Now, I am obviously going to the gym, so they might mention this later on in the stream, but my guess is probably we would have heard something for if it was coming out this week, so 20th, 21st, so I'm thinking it's going to be 27th, 28th is when the first PTS cycle launches. That puts us for, this is the first week, second week would be the third, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that would give us a launch week of March 2nd. So if it is being released on the first week of March, which I suspect is going to be the case, then we're going to see our PTS cycle begin on the 27th. The chapter itself comes out in June, much like Somerset, Morrowind, and elsewhere around that time frame. So we'll figure out when that's going to be. So other than that, we're not 100% certain what's going on outside of what they've already given us in terms of that timeline for the DLC stuff, should the quarterly updates. We do know they're going through a lot of game engine improvements, kind of behind the scenes work. So hopefully console players as well as PC players won't have to deal with as much lag, memory issues, things like that. But it remains to be seen whether those updates do get pushed, and if they do, how successful they are going to be. So I am pretty excited to kind of see where things are going. I'm not thinking this is going to be a werewolf or vampire-centered year. You guys might remember Wolf Hunter, where it was kind of like sort of centered around that sort of werewolf theme. I don't think they're going to be doing anything like that moving forward, but who knows. I am of the belief that vampirism at the very least needs to be kind of re-examined. Right now, the only reason to be a vampire is really just for the additional regen, so it'd be nice to see vampirism get a little bit of a rework, much like werewolves did in Wolf Hunter. So that's kind of would be interesting to see, but so far we're just gonna have to wait for the PTS cycle to come out. Again, I'm anticipating the 27th is when the first week of the PTS for Harrowstorm, which is the first DLC, when that's coming out. So let me know down in the comment section below what you guys think. A link to this page will also be in the description below. So again, just really quickly going through the page. So it says here we're stopping a powerful vampire lord. Now, whether that is Lord Harkon or not from the Elder Scrolls V remains to be seen. Harkon and his family line was definitely around during the Second Era, so we'll see whether or not we're dealing with Harkon or maybe a vampire lord that is working under Lord Harkon. But Vampire Lord is kind of weird. So in Elder Scrolls V, it was a specific like type of vampire. Here, it's not really clear what it is. If they're going along the line of that's a specific form of vampire, like the pure-blooded vampire that Molag Bal created, then I'm anticipating we're going to see something along the lines of Harkon's family being involved in this new expansion. Going into Western Skyrim, so that would be, as you can tell from the photo here, Solitude. So we're going to take a look at the Solitude hold. There's probably going to be a second zone. If I had to guess, probably Falkreath or Markarth would be the top two. Maybe Whiterun. We're not 100% certain. And they do mention here that we're delving into Blackreach. Now, the call out for Blackreach might indicate to me that it is going to be the trial that's going to be coming out. Whether that comes out with the chapter or the DLC remains to be seen, but I'm looking forward to seeing what Blackreach has to offer. Oh wait, this is a Vampire Lord, so it does seem like we are going to be dealing with a true-blooded vampire. So these are vampires whose bloodlines can be traced directly to their creation by Molag Bal. And it seems like we're rising from depths of Blackreach. So, in a surprise twist here, those of you guys who have played Skyrim, you will know that Blackreach is the Dwemer city underneath Skyrim. It's the largest Dwemer city underneath Skyrim, and it seems like from the wording of this that the Vampire Lord is actually in Blackreach. So we're not going to see your typical Dwemer sort of theme here like we did in Elder Scrolls V. This is probably going to be undead based, with the Vampire Lord probably being either the final boss or a lieutenant of the Vampire Lord being the final boss. I'd imagine the Vampire Lord itself is probably going to play a role in the chapter questline, not necessarily in the Trials questline. I'd imagine the trial is going to be more based on kind of maybe beating out his lieutenant or something like that. Anything else here? Discover Tamriel's history. So they are creating a new system called the Antiquities System. Describe the location of ancient relics and excavate them to uncover Tamriel's hidden history and become a world-renowned archaeologist. This seems like either a new system or kind of a new maybe skill tree, perhaps. Kind of hard to say. So new world events, Harrow Storms. Oh, here's the new trial, actually. Speaking of the devil. Kyne's Aegis. Defend the island bastion of Kyne's Aegis in a massive 12-player trial and protect the besieged villagers from invading sea giants. So that's pretty interesting. So it looks like Blackreach is actually going to be the quest area and Kyne's Aegis is going to be the trial. So pay the head to actually read ahead a little bit here. So that'll be interesting to see what exactly sea giants are. I don't think we've actually seen or heard anything about sea giants before. We definitely have seen giants in Elder Scrolls V, so maybe they're sort of a related subspecies of giants. Guess we'll have to wait and see. Supernatural hailstorms plague Western Skyrim, draining the life energy of anybody caught within and transforming them into ravenous monsters or mindless zombies. So this is probably the same thing as sort of like the world boss events, like the dragons, for example. New rewards: Skyrim's bounty. So you have 6 armor sets, collectibles, achievements. Your typical thing that you would include in any sort of new chapter here, and then they have all of the stuff here. So it is coming out June 2nd. So for Greymoor, let's check the calendar here. If we're going for a June 2nd launch, then that means, if we were working back, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, that means we should be seeing a PTS cycle for Greymoor launch the last week of April, or if they're going for 6 weeks, the second to last week. So the 20th or the 27th will be when the PTS comes out for Greymoor, just to give you guys an idea. So if we do have Harrowstorm coming out on the 2nd of March, that means we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 full weeks of the full Harrowstorm DLC before we have to jump back into the PTS and start testing things out. So either 7 or 6 weeks of the DLC. If we go ahead and take a look, you will be able to purchase this. The standard edition for new players is probably going to be up. Actually, it doesn't seem like you're able to pre-order just yet, but let's go ahead and find out here. Why can't PS4 players okay, so it looks like PS4 players you can't get Greymoor. So let's do this. So let's see, upgrading. Let's see, so store. So the upgrade's going to be $40 like it was in the past. Collector's edition, if I'm going to guess, is probably going to be $60. But let's go ahead and find out. So the collector's edition, when you're upgrading it, $50. Okay, so it'll be $50, which means add another $20 to $30, and that's probably how much it's going to be for new players to get into the chapter. So that's pretty much all that we have on the chapter right now, as well as the general year. So it's going to be just Greymoor, I guess, is going to be what it's called. Now, it's nothing fancy like Year of the Dragon. But again, let me know down in the comment section below what you guys think and what you guys are hoping to see this year in our DLC and the new chapter. So that's it for this video. I'm going to go ahead out and climb for my weekly exercise. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, links in the description below to this page where you'll be able to pre-purchase the chapter and also keep up with any sort of news that they're releasing on the chapter, as well as the other DLCs in general. Hope you guys found this informative, and I'll see you guys in the next dungeon.